What up, everybody? It's Aaron here with Robert at Command Center, Control Center for me. I am in space because he threw me out to tell me to self-quarantine, so I am now living in space for the next 2 weeks. Well, just to sum it up, I was at an event for John Guetta. Check out a link below for his page because he has released his new movie, All or Nothing, which I co-starred in. So we were at a big premiere this past weekend. I was there. Robert wasn't because he's, doesn't want to be around too many people, and I don't want to be around him, possibly exposed with this whole COVID thing. So next few weeks we're going to be like this until Robert says I can come back from space. And, I don't know when that'll happen.
Yeah, I'm going to replace you with a scroll before you're allowed to come back.
I'm okay with that. As long as the scroll's name is Gerald. I like that.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to pick Francis.
You mean really Ajax? Like the cleaning solution?
Sure.
So.
Nice Deadpool reference.
Loved it. So today, guys, we are here with our segment, Hogwarts House of Heroes, where, like Robert says, we play to each other's strengths. He's the big Harry Potter fan. I'm the comic book geek, the nerd of all of that stuff. And essentially, he's going to pick a house that some heroes go in based upon stuff I say.
Yeah, you're going to describe a character from, a superhero, maybe a villain, somebody, from geeky sci-fi. I mean, I guess it could be, we haven't talked about it, could be from a movie franchise, could be something like that. But you're going to pick out a, character, you're going to describe them, tell me what some of their defining traits and characteristics and things like that are. And based on that, without knowing who it actually is, I'm going to work on putting them into one of the Hogwarts houses. So Aaron, why don't you kick us off and start telling me all about this character?
All right. So this character, I hope somebody gets it while I describe him because it's going to be an interesting description of him. First of all, he's very, very awkward. When we get introduced to this character, he's kind of, for lack of a better word, it's not Peter Parker, but kind of that same awkwardness, like kind of a little shunned from other people, and people kind of look at him like, you're a little different than the rest of us. He is very friendly once you get to know him. Once people want to be his friend, he's very friendly, very like, hey, how's it going, guys? These friendships he holds close to him. Once he opens up to you and he's happy that you're around him, he wants to keep you there, he's the kind of guy that'll give you the shirt off his back kind of thing when he can, and really be there for you and stand in your corner essentially. But one thing that does kind of, I guess, is his flaw is he really wants to be popular. He wants everybody to love him, though. He does have that hey, I want kind of like that jock status. So, we're the quarterback of the high school football team. Everybody loves that guy. That's the guy I want to be. He does have a very strong dislike of bullies. So if anyone's being bullied, he's almost essentially like the Captain America. I'm going to get up there and beat those bullies away from you, and I'm going to save you, even though I may not be the strongest one in the room, but I'm still going to be there to help out. He does get embarrassed pretty easily, though. So, if someone's like his parents, maybe somebody like that, like family members try to embarrass him, he does feel that embarrassment really, really quick. So he's kind of goes back into his shell, so to say, or he may start distancing himself after a minute of being embarrassed like that. I'm trying to think. He does have a lot of fear in him too. So he has seen a darker side of all of his abilities, all his powers, what they could turn him into. And he's deathly afraid of what that could be for him. And every time he goes off and kinds of fights, he not necessarily has that struggle, but he's always worried as his powers grow, as he grows, if he is going to join that dark side, because he has seen a version of himself who does go there. And he is now deathly afraid of that. I would say, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of, because some of the stuff, if I go into it too much, it's going to kind of give away who he is exactly. He does hold failures really hard. So if he fails somebody, he does take that to heart. He really does feel man, I really messed up. And he almost, not self-deprecation, but very close to it, kind of beats himself up a lot over stuff that happens. I would say he also kind of lacks common sense. He doesn't really notice some things that are just plain as day in front of his face. Now, whether that's a maturity level thing or just an intelligence level, that I'll leave that up to you, because that could go either way with this character. That kind of sums up most of his personality. I don't know if you want some of his powers to help out a little bit or anything, or how he interacts in relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I have a good sense of where he's fitting in the house, but maybe talk me through how he works as a team member, how he interacts with other people around him. I know you mentioned that he is kind of awkward, but once he develops friendships, he's really he is very loyal, I guess you would say. He's very
Yes.
ride or die kind of mentality. But how does it actually work when he's in the moment?
So when he finally, those closest to him do know who he is. They know he is a superhero, and at first he still tries to keep him out of danger. Like, no, I have to be the one to fight crime. I can't have the help. You need to stay over there. But he eventually does embrace their help, realizing that he might be the muscle and they are more the tech. Like, okay, this guy's really smart. Maybe I should really start listening to what he says. And he really starts taking value in their opinions and starts using them to help him. But it does take a little bit, because there are times where he still feels like he needs to fight alone because it's too dangerous for them, as they don't have powers themselves. Yeah. And he does kind of go back and forth sometimes with her, where something really bad does happen to him in his arc, and the friends have to save him. They have to come to the rescue and remind him who he is. And because of that, he starts building that trust, almost that trust bond, almost a very good Robin and Batman kind of trust. But again, there are times, again, he saw that darker side of himself, and that darker side did kill his best friends. So you assume, because they don't really say what happened, you can kind of lead up that they might have died from his own hands, though. Okay. So again, there's that, when he starts learning there's that evil side, he's still a little, he loves his friends, but he's scared that if he goes that dark route, is he going to hurt them or something worse?
Yeah, so, I mean, everything that you're describing is making me want to put this character in Gryffindor. Okay. I don't have a guess as to who it is, but someone who, has fear. I mean, Gryffindors are known for being very brave, but I don't look at bravery as the absence of fear. I look at that as stepping up to the moment when you do have fear, right?
Exactly.
You're able to overcome your fear. So I think that, being someone that wants to, keep his friends out of harm's way, but is willing to rely on them.
If it helps too, I didn't think about this real quick.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at some of his stuff. His main nemesis, he ends up having to be friends with. And he does have to essentially put up with him, I guess you could say. But it's one of those, keep your friends close and your enemies even closer, because they know their true identities. They know who the other one is. But through a series of events, they actually have to work together at times, and they actually have to defeat some villains together that are even more scary than his nemesis even.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's not really changing anything. Okay. I think again, being someone who cares about other people, someone also who wants to be the hero, wants to be popular, wants to be the person that other people look up to. That's kind of a Gryffindor trait as well, like being that a little bit egocentric. Like I want to be the hero. I want to be the one that everybody looks to. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that this character sounds like a Gryffindor. I think that there are certainly some Hufflepuff traits in there also. In terms of that loyalty trait is really it's kind of a mix. I mean, it's both in Hufflepuff and Gryffindor that ability. But I think overall I'm putting this character in Gryffindor so far. So
okay.
Who are we talking about?
I don't want to see if you can hear this, because now we are doing stuff through Zoom. Can you hear that music?
No.
Nope. Okay, so it isn't the show. No. So that killed that. So, because I was going to introduce him that way. So it is actually Danny Phantom from the Nickelodeon TV show back in, I believe, early 2000s. I don't know if you remember that one. Do you remember him?
I remember. I have seen one or two episodes. I was not a show I watched a lot.
Oh no, that's why I didn't know. I didn't know because like I grew up watching this stuff, man. Like I love Danny Phantom. So for those who don't know, Danny Phantom, his name is Danny Fenton. He is actually a teenager boy who gets ghost powers by his parents, who are trying to enter the ghost zone, essentially where all spirits go. He stumbles in and trips a wire that essentially gives him ectoplasmic abilities. So he can fly, he can phase through walls, he can actually take over people as well. I don't know if he has essentially super strength, but I'll say he has at least enhanced strength. Probably like kind of like Steve Rogers from the comics more than the movies.
Right.
Because that's a whole
literally the
thing.
strongest guy in like the universe.
Oh my God, yes. Hey, Superman. Yeah, watch, I can lift this too, man. Like what?
Let me just hold on to this helicopter.
Exactly. Like that's the only thing I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, so he's a teenage boy though. So yeah, that's kind of the series though. You know, Vlad was his main villain. It was somebody that he was his nemesis. But when Dark Danny, which was the evil Danny, comes around, they do have to team up and start fighting that Danny, and they almost become frenemies, because it's like you're still an enemy, but you helped me defeat my evil clone, not clone, but like a dark version of me.
Yeah, it was funny when you were mentioning that dark version. The character that was coming to mind was Sentry and Void.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, but it doesn't really, like, everything else you're telling me doesn't sound like that character.
Yeah. No.
So that's why I was like, yeah, that's what came to mind when you started talking about that. He's got a dark side, and I was like,
Yeah, because there was a whole story arc. I think like one of the seasons they focused, maybe not a whole story arc, but there was maybe half a season or so where they talked about this dark one, and he eventually sees, and I think it's like in the future. And I want to say they comment that he may have killed his friends, or he at least got rid of them somehow. And then he starts getting scared. Like, is that where I'm gonna go? Because like he starts getting more as he like ages and gets older, his powers start changing. He starts getting like this ghostly wail and all this other stuff, kind of like Banshee, essentially. So, right, she just goes boo, and they all run away. But like this, you know, kind of like that Banshee scream, and that was commented by the dark version of him that I first started going dark when I learned about that ability. And when he starts doing it, he's like, oh crap, am I going to become dark, like Dark Phantom, essentially? Like he starts getting scared. So it's interesting.
And it's interesting too, like that. And that was one of the things that tipped me over the edge, because there's a, you know, part of the storyline in Harry Potter is there's a moment where Harry is concerned that, you know, he's going to go dark and evil and like that kind of thing. And, you know, he's, and I think that conflict within about, you know, how do I prevent that from happening? What do I need to do? Like all of that stuff again, it just felt very Gryffindor to me. So yeah, I don't know enough about the character to decide if I am right or not. But everything you've described makes me feel like he is a Gryffindor.
I think honestly, based upon what little Harry Potter I do know, and like kind of like how you just described that, you know, Harry has to face that stuff as well. I think you're pretty much on the dot with this one, because again, Danny, I can see Danny kind of like Harry Potter essentially. You know, Harry was awkward from what I understand in the beginning of these books, right? He was like, the people he lived with kind of like treated him bad, so he developed that awkward side of where I don't know where I can fit in. And Danny's the same way. Danny doesn't really fit in anywhere. His two friends is pretty much all he has. He has a crush on like the beauty queen, you could say, of the high school, but she doesn't even care that he exists. His best friend Sam does love him, and it's kind of like one of those, he doesn't even see that she does at times until later on in the series, and he finally like, oh, you like me and I like you, but wait a minute, now I know, and it becomes a whole thing.
Yeah, Harry and Ron, as two of the most famous male Gryffindors, are both epically bad at picking up.
Yeah, sort of and he is too.
Signals.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and that's why I feel like you're right, because Daddy, for like the longest time's like, Sam likes me? Nah, it can't be. And then like I think it's the last season or two, it's like, they kiss and they start like developing a relationship, and it's like she did. Like, dude, the whole time, like as I'm watching the series, I'm like, she likes you. Like, go for it. You know, cute goth girl
Yep.
likes you. Come on. So he went from the cheerleader kind of girl to the goth girl, and I think the funny thing is, it eventually switches. The cheerleader girl starts liking him, but he's like, I'm already over you.
That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. So
In real life, that's how it works. Don't worry
every
about it.
time, goth girl always gets it, and the whatever. Anyway, but I don't know. Let us know what you think. I was always afraid to like go into a certain part because I didn't know if you ever watched the series, like to start talking about something from him. Because I'm like, if he knows his series, this might tip him off. So what do y'all think? Did I describe Danny pretty well? Is that kind of his characteristics? Was there something I was missing that could have told Robert, oh, this is what house he belongs in, really? Of course, let us know if Robert was right. Do you think he belongs in Gryffindor? Should he go to Slytherin, Hufflepuff, or wherever they have claws? Something with a claw? Ravenclaw. There you go. I remember something for once. Let us know down below, guys. And of course, follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Official GYGO. Our Facebook page, Official GYGO, are also a group under the same name. And let us know what you think. And of course, stay geeky, guys. Get your geek on. For Robert, I'm Aaron. Get your geek on.
Bye.